Hey guys, welcome back. I'm so happy that you're here today. Today I'm going to revisit the folded gusset binding. It takes 5 pieces of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. And the base is really what this project is about today, but at the end I'm going to use some of the items that I picked up from Journal Say to decorate this little album. And the base itself takes maybe 10 to 15 minutes to put together. Let's get into it. This project starts with 5 pieces of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. Today I am using Nina 110-pound exact index. It's pretty much the cardstock that I use for most of my card bases, and my mini albums are handmade junk journals that I use cardstock on. One sheet we're going to cut down to 4.5 by 11. One sheet we're going to cut down to 4.5 by 7. And the 3 remaining sheets we're going to cut down to 4.5 by 9. For our long sheet, 4.5 by 11, we're going to score at 4.5 and at 6.5. For our 3 sheets that measure 4.5 by 9, we're going to score them each once at 4.5. And for our smaller piece, 4.5 by 7. So we're going to start at 1 inch. And we are going to score at every 1/2 inch until we get. So 1 inch, 1.5, 2 inches, 2.5, 3 inches. Ooh. Oh, jumping the track there. 3.5, 4 inches, 4.5, 5 inches, 5.5, and 6 inches. So I'm going to put a couple of links in the description below of a couple of other demonstrations of how I make this folded gusset binding, in case those are better visual demonstrations for you. We're going to start by just folding everything. We don't even have to worry at this point about what orientation, what direction the fold is going. Just get them all folded. We want to loosen up the fibers in the paper, and in the next step we will fold them the way they need to fold. For this particular project, if you're using a heavy-duty cardstock, you will want to ensure that you have some pretty good folds. You'll want to make sure that they're burnished well. You can do that all at once right now. Probably make the next part go a little quicker. Okay. Now that we have this folded and burnished, let's bring in the longest sheet, that's the 4.5 by 11, and let's fold these score marks that we made. This is the one that's scored at 4.5 and 6.5. I'm going to go ahead and burnish those as well. So essentially this is our front cover, our spine, and our back cover. And we're going to be folding this little sheet with all of these little fold marks and setting it right into this spine. I'm going to have one section, this 1-inch section, that will attach to the front cover on the inside. Then I'm going to have this 1-inch section here at the end that is going to attach to the back cover on this other side. So now we just have to make the correct folds and the correct gluings to make the tabs for our pages. With this, I need some pieces that are going to be flat against the spine. We are going to start, here's our 1-inch tab that will be attached to the cover. This next column, this next section is going to be flat against our spine, and the next two are going to be glued together. And it'll look something like this. So I'm going to flip it over and glue those two together. You want some strong glue for this. If you have it, you can use also a dry adhesive, your double-sided tape or ATG gun. If you get some glue coming out the back there, that's fine because that's going to be covered up. So that's what we have so far. I'm trying to check the camera to make sure that you can see it. There we go. So now this next fold is going to be flat against the spine, and then these next two are going to make a tab for the next page. So I'm going to flip that over and I'm going to glue those two together as well. Now you should have something that looks like this. Next one's going to be flat against the table. And the two after that are to come to a point again to make our third tab for our third page. Gonna fold that over, give it some glue. And there we have it. Should have something that looks like this. Not quite sure what the right angle is. So now we just want to do a dry fit into the spine. feels like it's going to be just about exactly right. So I want to make sure that each one of these sections is glued down. So you'll see 4 of those flat spine sections. So let's put glue on all 4 of those, and we're just going to drop it right in between these 2 score lines and try to even it up at the top and the bottom. So you can do this either by gluing here or by gluing here, whatever you're more comfortable with. I think I'm going to do it this way. I'm using art glitter glue, so I'm going to go a little fast. If you're familiar with art glitter glue, this is a lot of art glitter glue for it really only takes a couple dots of glue, but we want to make sure that it's in there really well. I'm going to go ahead and fold up the front and back covers so that I can line things up here and kind of work it in between those folds. And then I want to burnish each section so that it glues down. Now we have something that looks like this. And I'm just going to go ahead and glue these little tabs down. This 1-inch section is really going to hold everything together. If you want, you can cut this down just a little bit, miter those corners. And that really just keeps you from having to worry about the ends lining up here. I got glue all over my scissors. Oh no, and my desk. Let's go ahead and do the same thing for this one. Nope. I'm going to do it this way. They don't have to be at the same angle as the other because we're going to be covering those up. So now we have our little booklet. We have a front cover. We have our tabs for our pages and our back cover. Go ahead and give this another burnish here. There we go. So your little book should look something like this. Now we're going to grab these 3 sheets that we scored. This is the 4.5 by 9. We scored them at 4.5. I'm going to burnish all 3 of these. Now I'm going to do each of these pages a different way. You can do all of your pages the same way, but I just want to show 3 different options we have for this particular binding with this type of page. Let's go ahead and also miter the corners on our little tabs. Just pull a little way that flew across the room. Just cut a little bit of that bulk off and just be sure you're not cutting into the spine. You could definitely do this before you glue that folded piece into the spine, but I didn't think of it then. It just removes some of the bulk, and then we don't have to worry about things lining up at the very top and the very bottom. We're going to take our first page and we're going to glue on all three sides, and we are going to attach it to this tab just like this. So you will need some extra glue at the very far end of this page, so where it meets here. Demonstrate. You have two options when you add a page in this orientation. You can keep the top open and use it as a pocket, or you can glue it closed and not have a pocket. And then I need some glue here, some glue here, and glue here. And we just want to grab our tab. We're going to put one side of this page right in to that fold. Pull that tab up so it meets. Kind of going to check as I go that the top and bottom are generally aligned. And then I'm going to go ahead and fold this so that it meets the other side of that little tab. Now, there's a possibility of getting air in at this point, so I try to work it down the middle towards the fold and then out. And that's our first page. The next page style I'm going to do is to have the fold, instead of at the side, at the very top. So when I do one where the fold of our page is at the very top, I'm going to glue it on these sections here, and I'm going to leave this side open to use as a pocket. Let's go ahead and do that. And it's generally the same thing. I'm going to line it up here, kind of shove it in that fold, close this down, and there's no glue in the middle this time, so we can just kind of push out. Now we have a pocket here. Of course, you want to wait until your glue is dry before you open your pocket or try to put something in it. And for the last one, we are going to glue it with the fold at the bottom and make a top loading pocket. So for any of these pockets, if you decide to use them, you can take a moment and hit them with your circle punch if you want a little, I don't know, what do we even call those? A pull area? A tabby thing? Is there a, oh my gosh. Is there a word for that? You guys know what I'm talking about. Come on. I clearly don't know what I'm talking about. But let's see. So I'm gonna do it down here, and then down here. And I'm going to get my fold in at the bottom around this tab. Slide it in there. Also, no glue in the middle, so I'm just going to work it kind of like that. And there you go. So one thing to note, and the reason that I showed you 3 different ways for these pages is because some makers prefer that their books look a certain way from the bottom or from the side or from the top. So you want to kind of check those out. And, you know, if you need to make adjustments to the way that you add in your pages, then you can do that. Otherwise, for real, this little booklet, the base is done. Next, I'm going to go ahead and just add some decoration. I have some pieces that I picked up from Journal Say. I do have a Journal Say link below, and my code is BUGSCODE. It'll get you 8% off if you are interested. You can always just go check it out. And I will be back with the final view. These particular sticky notes are not actually sticky.